Hello, it's time for our word problems of the day. You're going to see that we have 3 word problems we're going to do. They all kind of go together. So the only thing I want you to draw on your whiteboards and on your papers is just a line going down there. You only need 2 straight lines and then we're going to be filling in from there. I don't want you to have to write all the words. I'm going to read it to you. Okay? So here's the first one. Keon had a Lincoln Cube train of 14 blue cubes and 2 red cubes. How many cubes were in his train? So what we're going to do is we're going to use some quick 10s and 1s to draw our picture, okay? And you all should be able to do that with no problem. So we're going to draw the number 14 first because we knew he had 14 blue cubes. So what we're going to do is draw how many 10s? That's right, 1 10. Because 14 is 1 10 and then 4 1s. So there's my blue. Now I know that I had 2 red cubes. So I have to draw 2 red cubes. Here's my question for you. Am I doing 2 10 sticks or 2 1s? That's right, 2 1s. And we're just going to put our 2 1s here, nice straight line. Okay? And you'll see that we didn't really make another 10. We have 4, 5, 6. So I have 1 10 and 6 1s to give me the number 16. Now, what I want to do is I want us to make a number bond. And you'll notice I'm not drawing this very big. It does not need to be big. It just needs to be big enough for you to be able to write in and to see what it is that you're doing. So we're going to look at the first one. I had 14. We had 14. And we're going to label this B for blue. How many red did we have? That's right. We had 2 red. And we're going to label that R for red. Now this is going to be the total number of cubes. So we're going to label that C for cubes. Now, all I need to do is count on. I have 14. I'm going to punch 14 and count up 2. 14, 15, 16. And that matches the answer that I have here, doesn't it? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create our number sentence. So we had 14 plus the 2 red, which are right here. And again, that gives us 16 cubes. Now, the one thing I want you to notice is this. Sometimes we need to actually make this into a number bond way for us to be able to add it. In this case, you do not, and I'm going to show you the trick as to why. If we look at the 1s, which are 4 1s and 2 1s, you know 4 plus 2 is 6. The only time we would really have to do that is if these two numbers equal 10 or more. Then you're going to have to use the number bond way, or you'll have to break them apart into 10s and 1s. Otherwise, you don't need to because you're not creating another 10. Okay? Now let's take a look at our second problem. It says Jacob made a train with 16 yellow cubes and some green cubes. The train is 19 cubes long. How many green cubes did he use? Well, I want to show you something, and this is another tricky one. I have the number 16, okay? But I also have this word sum. That word sum is going to turn into a number. We just don't know what it is yet, and that's the number we're trying to find. And then we said his train was 19 cubes long. We're going to back our way into this problem again. And the way we're going to do that is we're actually going to fill out our number bond first. So go ahead and make yourself a number bond for me, just like this. Okay? Now, we know our total. How many cubes did he use altogether? Was it the 16 or was it the 19? That's right, it was the 19. So we're going to put 19 here as our total cubes. We're going to label that C for cubes. Now, we know that 16 of them were yellow, so I'm going to put a Y for yellow. We're trying to figure out how many were green, G for green. So my question to you is this: how do I figure it out? Well, I could do it a couple different ways. I could punch 19 and count backwards 16. But number 1, that would take us a long time. Number 2, we'd probably lose track of doing it. The better way to do it is to take 16 and count up to 19. So we have 16, 17, 18, 19. I needed 3 green to get me up to 19. So I know my answer is going to be 3. Now, let's draw the 10 sticks and 1s to match our number bond. It's important that you're matching it. So if I take a look, I started with 19. I started with my total. So I'm going to draw 19. There's my 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There's my 19, okay? I know that 16 of them were what I started with to begin with. So I can go ahead and cross out 16. I'm going to cross out 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And I'm going to put a box around what I have left, which is 3. Do you see how slowly I did that? And do you see how organized I did that? By making sure that everything was in a straight line, I was able to see clearly what I was trying to do and how many I needed to cross off. Now, the number sentence for this is 19. And this time we're taking away 16, and that's going to give us our 3. Okay? Lastly, let's look at the last problem. Jasmine wants to make a train of 8 cubes into a train of 17 cubes. How many more does she need? Okay, so we know she has 8 but wants 17. How do we do it? Again, I'm going to start with my number bond because it's telling us she wants to have 17 cubes, but she only has 8 cubes right now. I'm going to put an H for has 8 cubes. How many more, so we'll put an M for more, does she need? So how do you figure that out? Again, 2 ways of doing it. 17, punch 17, count backwards 8, or punch 8 and count up to 17. In this case, we're going to count backwards. So we're going to go 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. I landed on 9. 9 should be my answer. Okay? Now, again, we're going to draw our quick 10s and 1s. So I need to draw the number I started with, which was my total, the 17. So I'm going to draw 17. 10, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, here's the trick. I need to cross off 8. How do I do that? How do I do that if I have a 10 stick and I have 7 ones? Can I cross off 8 if I have 7? The answer is no. Now here's the trick. In this case, you need to trade in your 10 stick for 10 ones. Same thing. It's kind of like a dime and 10 pennies. You can trade them so they're the same thing. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of my 10 stick and I'm going to make this into 10 ones. And I want you to go ahead and do that for me too. So there's my 10 ones. Now, here's my question for you. Can I take 8 away from the 10? The answer is yes. So now I'm going to cross off 8 of them. So I'm left with 2 right here, plus the 7 that I had there. 2 plus 7, or I could say 7 plus 2 is 9, exactly. There's my 9. So the drawing got a little tricky on you today. Now let's just make our number sentence really quick. We started with 17. We took 8 out and we were left with 9, which again is the same answer we got here and the same answer we got here. Did it trick you? Sometimes it gets you to think, because I know I even have to think sometimes how I want to show you how it's done. So keep all these in mind because you might have to use them when we're going to be doing some word problems coming up in a few lessons. We've been doing a lot with comparing numbers, and we're trying to look for patterns in the numbers, in the number sentences that we have. So today we're going to continue on with our patterns. What I'm looking for is some matches to go along with the number sentences that Crystal and Jacqueline have. Here's what I mean. So if I say 4 plus 3 equals 7, would you say that's the same as 3 plus 4 equals 7? If you said yes, you're absolutely right, because we just switched around the order of the numbers. So I had my 4 first here, and I had my 4 second here. Same thing with the 3's. So we could say yes, these two are equal expressions, correct? So now what I want you to do is take a look at another set of numbers, and I want you to tell me if they're equal or not. You ready? What if I did this? What do you think? I have 14 plus 3 equals 17, and I have 13 plus 4 equals 17. My question to you is, are they equal? If you said yes, you're right. Now watch this. The only thing that's different from the first equal expressions that we did was that we added a 10 in front of the first number. But did our 1 stay the same? I used a 4 and a 3 here, and I used a 4 and a 3 here, okay? So the only thing that was different was I added a 10, but I added it on both sides. So again, it made us balance ourselves out. So we could say again, this one is equal. Okay, let's try another one. What if I did this? I had 23 plus 4 equals 27, or 24 plus 3 equals 27. What do you think? Equal? Not equal? Yes, it's equal. Because again, I still have my 3 and 4 over here. So we know that the 1's are still going to be 7. That hasn't changed, right? Now this time, instead of adding 1 10, I added 2 10's, but I did add it to both sides. So as long as I added it to both sides, that again makes an equal equation. So what I want you to notice is this. I want you to be sure you know what the totals are and you're following the patterns. And you're noticing things like, oh, yep, I added 1 10 here, 1 10 here. Yep, I added 2 10's here and 2 10's here. Look at your numbers. Don't try to go so quick that you are just missing these important details. So I want you to really make sure you're paying attention to the numbers, because sometimes they're going to trick you. Time for the lesson. Today what we're going to do is we're going to try to clarify some things, make things a little bit clearer for you. I know it's been tricky doing the addition, and I know your parents are probably like, but there's an easier way to do it. And I promise you, I promise, I'm going to show you that easier way. I call it the good old-fashioned way. And I didn't ever think I'd say the good old-fashioned way because it's the way I was brought up doing it. But it's, to me, the easier way, and I promise you we'll get to it. The reason we're doing it the way we're doing it now is so you have a better understanding of 10s and 1s. So just stick with me. There's a method behind my madness, like I told you before, and we will get to the easy way of doing it. But for right now, I just want to show you a little something, okay? So we have 16 plus 2. Now, most of you should be able to go, oh, I know what that is. That's 18, because I can go 16, 17, 18, right? You're good about punching out your numbers and counting on. So I know my answer is going to be 18. Now, there's a couple of different ways that you can think about it, and this is what I hope that you're going to start to do in your heads, okay? So the first thing I'd love for you to do is say, I have 6 1's and 2 1's. Well, 6 plus 2 is 8, and I know that there's 1 10, so 10 plus 8, or 10 8, equals 18, okay? So all of this can start going around in your mind. If you can't do it in your mind, and that's okay if you can't, you can always do this. Let's draw it. Let's draw 16. I know 16 is 10 6. I'm going to draw 10, and then I'm going to draw my 6 1's. Okay, so there's my 6 1's, and then I have to draw 2 more. So now I have 10, and then I have 6, 7, 8. So I know that in my tens and ones frames, I have 1 10 and 8 ones. Okay? Now, I can also do it like this. I'm just going to bring it down here. 16 plus 2. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to break this down into tens and ones. We're going to use the tens and ones way. Okay? Now watch what I'm going to do. This other number here, the 2 is just 2 ones, right? There's no tens involved. So I'm going to make sure that when I break this number down into tens and ones, my ones are closest to the other ones. We're kind of matching ones and ones. So I have 10 and 6 because I know 10 plus 6 is 16. And these are my ones and these are some ones. So I'm going to circle the ones. I'm going to say 6 plus 2 equals 8. Okay? Got me so far? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the number I didn't use, which is 10, add it to the 8. So I'm going to bring that 8 down, and that's going to give us the 10, 8, which is 18. Okay? Are you with me so far? I know it seems like several steps. Now, for those of you that in your head you're already figuring out what the 6 plus 2 is, maybe you don't need to do the 6 plus 2 equals 8. Maybe you just need to go and skip that part and do 10 plus 8 equals 18. The reason I have you do it this way is so you don't skip any steps. Now let's look at a similar problem, okay? We're going to look at 16 plus 20. Now watch how I draw this. I'm going to draw the 16, okay, just like I did before. Now this time, I'm adding 20 to it. That's right, there's no ones, just 2 tens, right? 2 tens, so it's 10, 20, 2 tens. What am I going to do and where am I going to add those? That's right, if you said I'm adding the 2 tens next to the other 10, you're absolutely right. Don't scatter them all over the page because it doesn't keep you organized. I'm going to put my 2 tens right here. 1 10, 2 10. Now I can add it. Check this out. 10, 20, 30. And I know there's 6 here. 30 plus 6 is 36. Watch this. Here's my tens and ones frame. I see 3 tens and 6 ones, and that equals 36. You with me so far? That part's easy. Now, let me rewrite it down here. Now, here's where I want you to be paying attention. We're still going to break this down into tens and ones. But here's my question. Are those tens or are those ones? That's right, they're tens. So now what I'm going to do is where I broke it down here, I'm still going to break it down to 10, 6. You're absolutely right. But I'm going to flip the order. It doesn't matter what order it's in, right? As long as I still have those 2 numbers. And I'm going to place the 10 next to the other tens. So I'm going to put my 6 here, and I'm going to put my 10 here because guess what? Now I'm going to be circling 20 plus 10. So basically I'm saying 2 tens plus 1 10 equals 3 tens or 30. And then I'm going to bring that 30 down. I'm going to say 30 plus the number I didn't use, which is 6, equals 36. And you'll see I came up with the same answer as I did up above. So the difference is paying attention to what we're looking at. Here we were looking at ones, but yet here we were looking at tens. And that's going to make the difference of what order you put your numbers in when you break down your numbers. I know it seems confusing. I know it does. If you have to rewind and look at this video again and just listen to what I'm saying, I think you'll get it. Or maybe your parents can give you some little extra problems and maybe you can do some practice. So now let's take a look at your homework. We are on page 57. Now problem 1 on page 57 looks like this. And what I want you to do is strictly just draw your tens, your quick tens and your ones. The reason it's doing this is it's getting you ready for the problems that are going to be coming along that are a little harder. So let's take a look. This one says 16 plus 3. So we need to draw quick tens and ones for the number 16. So I know 16 is 10 and 6. So I'm going to draw my 10 stick and then 6 ones. And I'm going to recount 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, I've got 6. Now I need to draw my 3. 1, 2, 3. Do my ones equal more than 10? No, they don't. They're still under 10. So if I look at this, I have 1 10 and I have 9 ones. So my answer is 19. The way I can prove it is I can go 16, 17, 18, 19, and I know that my answer is correct. All right? All I want you to do is draw quick 10s and 1s on this page. Not too hard. Now, let's take a look at page 58. 58 said it wants you to do quick 10s and 1s, but it also wants you to do the number bond way. Well, in looking at it, I don't see a lot of room for you to do the number bond way. So there's a couple things you're going to do. The first thing is you're going to do these problems on the workbook page. You're only going to do the quick 10s and 1s. And I'm pretty sure you're going to have to do them alongside because of the way it's set up. Let me just show you really quick. Let me set this down for a moment. So if you look at it, it didn't give you much room underneath each one of these. So along the side, what I want you to do is I want you to write your quick 10s and your 1s next to each one of them. Okay, so let's take a look at this one for example. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw 32. So listen, 32. So 32 is 3 10s and then the 2 1s. Now I need to add 7 to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I add those together, I know that I don't have more than 10, but watch how I'm going to do it. Remember I told you you could do it either way? I could do 2 and count up 7, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to count 7, 8, 9 and do it that way. So I know I have 3 10s and 9 1s. So my answer is 39. Now, if you have room next to that, this is what you need to do. If not, you're going to need to get a sheet of paper and do it on a blank sheet of paper where you have more room, okay? So here's what it's going to look like. You're going to rewrite the problem, 32 plus 7, and then you're going to put a little line. Now, again, you're going to break it apart into 10s and 1s. 32. So we have 32. You're going to circle your 1s. I know 7 plus 2 equals 9. And now I got to take this 30, and so 30 plus 9 equals 39. So I come up with the same answer. 30 plus 9 is 39. You also need to remember, this digit here is going to take the place of that one. You have to remember that. Okay? So page 58 is going to be a lot trickier. And again, if you don't have enough room on that page, just get a blank piece of paper. Write out your number sentences there and solve them doing the 10s and 1s way. Again, if you want to skip that one little number sentence here, if you think you can do it that way, that's perfectly fine. If not, it does help you keep you organized, to keep it there, and then go ahead and add the number you didn't use. Please make sure your parents send in your work to your teacher, and we're going to be moving on again tomorrow.